some other folks up in here with the Facebook chat. Gonna talk a little bit of Broncos, little Super Bowl, little draft. Good days. Happy Valentine's Day, guys. It is February 14th, 6:32 where I am, probably 7:32 where most of you guys are, but whatever time it is, wherever you are, happy Valentine's Day and welcome in. It is Monday morning here, and that means it's time for an episode of Broncos for Breakfast. I'm Nick Kendell and joined by Scott Kennedy as always. Scott, happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day to you. A couple of old married heads. It's with working in sports for me, I always kind of got a pass on Valentine's Day. It's usually, the week after signing day. Well, it hasn't gotten a lot easier now that they're pushing the Super Bowl to Valentine's Day. Pretty soon it'll be, enjoy your Super Bowl party with St. Patrick's Day flair,
Yeah.
So but yeah, it's a good day. Hopefully you're doing well out there, everyone, and thank you for spending some time with us.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Happy Valentine's Day to all the ladies and fellas in the chat. Yeah, single or coupled up or whatever you're doing, thrupled. I don't know what some people are up to these days. But God bless. We'll get into it. Obviously, a great Super Bowl last night, and a lot to talk about with the Broncos bringing on some coaches with some rings, which will be a lot of fun to talk about as well. But let's say hi to the chat first. We don't leave people waiting. Sunny Days saying it's a thumbs up for the coffee, thumbs and hearts. This is my Valentine's Day right here.
That's my second gulp of coffee. You'll know when it kicks in. I promise you.
So good. You ever seen did you watch SNL back in the day? 80s, 90s SNL?
Yeah.
The Chris Farley scene where it's the Colombian coffee crystals and he just loses his absolute mind in that's like one of my all-time favorites. If you haven't seen it, I really like absurdist humor. I'll share that sometime. I'll tweet it out, but that one just kills me. Luke Wright, good morning, Nick and Scott. Von Miller Hearts. Yeah, Von Miller, champion as well. Soon to be free agent Von Miller. DWI guy saying, Goog morning, gents, and Broncos country. I'm going to get your stuff right. So if you say Goog, I'm going to get in for the Goog. We got EJ coming in. Good morning, Nick and Scott in Broncos country. Sean Burns saying good morning. Chase with the question saying, or with the comment, what a season for Cooper Kupp, potentially the best all time for a wide receiver. Yeah, it was a great season for Cooper Kupp, and this kind of opens the door for the Super Bowl comments here. So let's get into it. Man, the game really came to a ugly grinding halt after Odell Beckham Jr. went down. What a game he was having. The Bengals were playing ISO on that backside with Odell Beckham on the opposite side of Cooper Kupp on most plays. And if Cooper Kupp wasn't open with the bunch on one side, they were going backside because they had a ball winner in Odell Beckham Jr. and it was working. And just trying to translate this over to the Broncos, potentially, obviously running the wide zone West Coast offense. It's not going to be Sean McVay per se, but that's what you want. Broncos, I think, have the formula to run something similar-ish with Jerry Jeudy being that slot option in the bunch formation, and then Courtland Sutton as the ball winner on the other side. Do you have any thoughts on that, or is it not replicable at all because it's Sean McVay and Matt Stafford?
Yeah, that's part of it. Part of it, you've got the quarterback.
That's 90%.
And not just the quarterback, but I've said before, Scott, who are you rooting for? I was rooting for Matthew Stafford. I've said since I saw him live, he was the number one pick overall. I said he's got as much arm talent as anybody I've seen, and I put him there with the two greatest of arm talents, which was Brett Favre and John Elway.
Yeah,
he's just, he can sit back on his haunches on his back and flip his arm, and the thing will go 60 yards on a line. He is just amazing. I felt like he was criminally underrated. And, he's got receivers that were able to make plays for him, and he didn't make every good throw. Nobody does, but I'm glad for him. I've said forever on that also is the people that matter don't underrate Matthew Stafford. He's gotten, about $200 million in contracts. And after 11 years of not winning a playoff game, the Rams sent a former number one overall and 2 first-round draft picks for him. So the people that matter, the personnel evaluators in this league and the people who are writing checks knew who Matt Stafford was. And I'm very excited for him. So it's not always replicable because not everybody's going to have somebody back there that can deal like Matt Stafford. And I didn't say it beforehand. I wish I would have, because I was thinking, I'm like, if you sit back and try and rush 3 against Stafford, he'll kill you, because Stafford's got a better thrower than Patrick Mahomes. That is not going to work. He's not going to run like Mahomes. So you want to build like a parachute around Mahomes and keep him from beating with your legs. But Stafford's a better thrower than Patrick Mahomes. And he had more weapons for usually when they're healthy.
Yeah, can you expand upon that by better thrower? Because I would say that Patrick Mahomes probably has a little bit more elasticity to his arm. He can make probably more throws than Stafford can right now.
I
A
think
lot of that has to do with lower body.
for me, it means do you have to have Matthew Stafford can get as much velocity and accuracy on a ball without having his feet set than anybody in this league. As anybody in this league, he can deliver it from the pocket to anywhere on the field.
Yeah,
and he doesn't have to be set, and he can do it quickly. So if I'm gonna be hemmed in the pocket, and I'm gonna take legs out of the equation, which is what the Bengals did to the Chiefs, that's what they tried to do anyway. I'd rather have Matthew Stafford than Patrick Mahomes.
yeah.
Over the course of a season, I'd still probably rather have Mahomes because of the different things that he adds. But as far as pure arm talent, it's awfully tough to beat Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, he's still got a good one. I mean, there was a report earlier that he had like a injury on injury, his legs, his back, his arm, his shoulder. I mean, it's just falling apart. But what a game, what a career for Matt Stafford. Happy to see him win one. Happy for Aaron Donald. Happy for Von Miller as well. We got Mark Schrader coming in. Happy that Mark's joining us this morning. So happy Valentine's Day, Mark. He says, good morning, Nick and Scott. Agreed, Scott. I was definitely rooting for Stafford. It was good to see Stafford when I was also rooting for Joe Burrow as well. Good quarterback.
I wasn't rooting against the Bengals. I think what I said beforehand was I didn't want there to be any referee controversy or injury. Well, oops.
Yeah.
So, there was, and the bad calls were bad on both sides. They evened out.
That's what I was going to say.
And do you remember my score prediction from Saturday night, Nick?
I do not remember. Was it 24-20?
It was 24-20 Rams. I missed the extra point. So, I just felt like watching the 49ers really shut down the Rams. I'm like, the Bengals have a very similar offense. Defense, very similar defense, but they are better on offense. They've got a better quarterback, and Jamar Chase is as dangerous, if not even more so, than Deebo Samuel. So I just felt like there was going to be a few more points in here, but that the Bengals would still be able to hold down the Rams. So I kind of like the under on this one.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mark, for always supporting us. And man, we appreciate the heck out of you. Jacob Foster also supporting us. Jacob, get at us. We need an email for Jacob so he can get at, because Luke gave him a shirt or an item, a giveaway for the supporting us for Mile High Insiders. So Jacob, make sure you reach out to us. You can hit me up on Twitter and I can start to send out the emails or if not, comment on here. We'll figure it out. But Jacob with the superstars. Thank you so much, Jacob. Happy Monday to you. Happy Valentine's Day to you and yours. Let's keep it going here. I want to say hello to US Dave, Buenos Dias, compadres. We also got Django de la Cruz coming in from the Philippines. Ashton in the Valentine's Day spirit with the heart. Good morning, fellas. Clayton in the house. Good morning, guys. Dave celebrating Von Miller's accomplishments. 2 Super Bowls. I think he's maybe a half a sack away from all-time sack leader in the Super Bowl because he's been in 2, but still. So good job, Von Miller.
People that have been in 4. My first thought, they never said who he was tied with. So who can answer that? I was thinking maybe like Charles Haley.
I have no idea. I just know that he's
defensive end. He was in there a lot with the Cowboys and 49ers. So I bet he played in 5.
Yeah. No, would be interesting to see who is number, how that ranks out. But hey, maybe Von Miller can get back there and capture that championship and get himself a first ballot Hall of Famer. Happy Valentine's Day from EJ coming in here. Clayton coming in. What do you guys think of the Super Bowl? It was a good game. I think, Scott, you hit the nail on the head about how the end of the game maybe kind of was upset with that Logan Wilson pass interference holding call. But then also the one for me is like, well, T. Higgins grabbed the absolute leap out of Jalen Ramsey for a touchdown. So
again, no more upset than Jalen Ramsey's face mask getting turned around. I mean, if that's you've heard me say before, I don't mind. I don't like hypocrisy.
Yeah.
And it's not fair to the defensive backs the way they call pass interference. The offensive guys are allowed to get away with murder. If that
especially Jamar Chase.
You switch that around and 4 flags go flying on Jalen Ramsey, and it's not fair. It isn't.
No. And then Jalen Ramsey also made that. He gave up that big play to Jamar Chase, who made the great one down the right sideline, and then made the play to rip the ball out of T. Higgins' hands, almost intercepted it at the goal line. Jalen Ramsey, I mean, hopefully we were appreciating greatness on the field last night, because the combination of Von Miller, Leonard Floyd, Aaron Donald, and then Jalen Ramsey on the back end is a unique grouping of superstars. And I don't think there's a coverage guy out there. I say that, maybe Derwin James, but Jalen Ramsey is incredible, and we should be appreciating how good he is. His usage, too. I mean, in the slot, out wide. I mean, they're using him everywhere, and I'm really curious to see if Evero is going to use Surtain in that vein, or if Jalen Ramsey is such a unicorn that they can't do that. I'm fascinated to see what the defense looks like with Evero.
Okay, good. It was Charles Haley. That was my guess, like I said, because he was a really good defensive end, and he got a lot of chances playing with the Niners and Cowboys, kind of like, Deion went back and forth. Yep. And there's the answer, too. It says Miller tied with Charles Haley. Yeah, Charles Haley was a hell of a player. Really, really good player. So, okay, that was my guess. I'm glad I got that right, because you never know. It could be, you get an interesting matchup, and someone might have gotten 3, at one time. Or, hey, it was Bruce Smith. Bruce Smith played in 4 in a row. Reggie White got in a couple. Could have been a bunch of guys, but Charles Haley was my guess. Okay, well, good. Thanks, y'all. And Ethan, thank you. I don't know how much of the game you got to watch.
Yeah.
It was on awfully late over in England, but you may have gotten up and watched it this morning. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Ethan, for supporting us. Clint's in the house. Good morning, fellas. What a Super Bowl. Ashton saying, why did the NFL have The Rock open the show last night? Isn't he the face of the XFL? Lord knows. Who knows?
I don't know, but I loved it.
I had no opinion. I was getting beer ready at that point. So, The Rock's on TV?
I loved it. Okay. I thought that was fun. I was like, oh, God, this is, and then he started going, and I'm just like, yeah, I love The Rock.
Yeah, he's a goob, but so am I. So I appreciate
Michael Buffer. It's add a little bit more to it, and The Rock isn't going to freeze up on the big stage. The guys get popular in wrestling because of their ability to deliver on the microphone. So yeah. I thought it was fun.
It definitely was a fun one. I loved the movie. God, I wasn't really big into wrestling, but when he first kind of crossed over into Hollywood, he was in a movie with the guy who played Stifler.
The Rundown.
The Rundown. And
he did like a scene 10 times. I love it.
Great movie. I was probably not the ageist, Scott, but I was probably like in 4th grade or 5th grade when that first came out. And there's a scene where he like shotguns, flips them under his armpits, and like loads them again and flips them. And all my friends and I, being big old nerds,
The Rock would have been your Schwarzenegger. So yeah. I had Arnold Schwarzenegger for that, and Arnie was in better movies. The 80s Arnold Schwarzenegger movies were better than the Rundown. But I did really like the Rundown.
Speaking of Arnold, nice little Super Bowl appearance last night. Unfortunate for him that in the commercials, of course. Unfortunate for him, he was one of the, I'm just going to guess, 52 electric car commercials that were on last night. But who knows? Todd coming in, also speaking about who knows. Thank you, Todd. Good morning to you. Do you guys think Von might come back during free agency this year? Anything is possible, but I would say that I think Von will steer clear. If the Broncos don't get an obvious upgrade at quarterback. No offense to Drew Lock, but I think Von Miller has, rough and tumble for 5.5 years there in Denver, from the Trevor Simeons of the world to the Paxton Lynches to the Case Keenums to the Joe Flaccos to the Drew Locks to the Teddy Bridgewaters. I mean, gosh, he was really believing in Teddy Bridgewater too there for a little bit. Von's a hype man. He believes in divine intervention, no doubt about it. The Broncos starting 3-0. He was drinking the juice there. And then it kind of fell apart, and he seemed like a broken man there at the end before trading to the Rams. But he's seen nirvana. He's seen great quarterback play. I don't think Von's going to go anywhere where that doesn't have a guaranteed franchise quarterback, because why would he? I mean, people are like, oh, Von's not used right. But Vic Fangio's not using Von right. They almost use Von in coverage 3 times as much a rate for dropping back in coverage than Vic Fangio. 3 years, Von Miller under Vic Fangio, 61 coverage snaps. During the Rams, 50 coverage snaps. That's only like 8 games. So it's about the offense and giving Von a good chance to rush the quarterback, because you have an offense that can actually put a lead on the give you a lead.
Gary Leeds Palmer, good morning. Thank you for the stars, my friend. And Von's earned the right to pick who he wants. He's good enough to come in and say, I've got plenty of money. I'll come in on a veteran minimum deal if I want to. And he could sign in October.
Yep.
He could sit out for a while and just say, hey, who needs a guy? Who needs a pass rusher? Let me see how the wind's blowing, and I'll see who's 7-1. And there's an injury, and you could use an edge. Who couldn't use an edge?
Yeah.
So Von's earned that right. I wouldn't be surprised, but you're gonna have enough competition for Von, and Von is going to go for a place that is guarantee him into the playoffs.
You would think so. I mean, maybe there's some nostalgia, and his brand in Denver, he can be a face of the franchise in Denver, where in LA, I mean, even though he's still Von Miller, I mean, is he a bigger face than Aaron Donald, Matt Stafford, Sean McVay on that team? No, I wouldn't say so, but man, he's incredible. Also, one more Super Bowl win or playoff success. I mean, you're talking about guaranteeing yourself first ballot Hall of Fame, where if he comes back to Denver and you are playing, nobody tunes in for the Broncos playing barely at 500 in December football, maybe that hurts his Hall of Fame chances. So who knows? DeAndre Weatherspoon, good morning, guys, with a lot of exclamation points. Also, then Coop is a beast. We love the energy here. Also, DeAndre rocking a new Facebook picture there. I'm 99% sure. So happy Valentine's Day to you, DeAndre. Hope you're doing well. Don't recognize this name. Nino Mondo saying good morning, you guys. Go Broncos from Toledo, Ohio. The Toledo Torpedoes, I believe, is the team there. They're not the Rockets, right? Are they the Rockets?
I'm a MASH guy, so it was always the Mud Hens.
Oh, okay. There you go.
The Toledo Rockets was the Rockets is, unless they changed it, who knows? But I don't know why they changed it from Rockets. It was the Rockets was a college team.
That's what I was talking about. And they just hired. Did they hire Moorhead as their head coach? I can't remember. Somebody made a big, huge move.
I used to like to take Toledo and put them in the Big Ten when I was playing NCAA.
Yeah, no offense to Toledo, but I always loved seeing them or any of those MAC teams coming up against Iowa, because that was typically a nice win for the Hawks. We got US Dave giving us the thumbs up. Kenneth, KB82 coming in saying, good morning, guys. What kind of contract do you think Von Miller will get this offseason, since he played well close to the season and in the playoffs? Von Miller at this point in his career, in my opinion, is kind of like the end years of the Tim Duncan, Greg Popovich, Manu Ginobili Spurs, where it's like, okay, it's the regular season. We're going to get to the playoffs. We're going to be fine there. But when the playoffs comes, that's when, we're going to hit that turbo button, go to the max. So Von Miller, I don't think you're going to get explosive regular season numbers from him going forward, but he can still turn it on down the stretch. As far as his contract, gosh, he's going to get top. I would guess it'd be like a 3-year deal, not super long-term, but I would guess, you think shorter or longer?
Like I said, I wouldn't be completely surprised if he decided just to kick it around for a while and sign a 1-year deal once the season's already started. You're not signing, like I said, with the Rams, you're not signing Von Miller for November with the Rams. They weren't signing him for December. They signed him for the playoffs. And he's earned that luxury where he's got all the money he needs in the world. So, someone might come out and say, hey, here's a big deal, but he's not going to be, I don't think he's going to be financially motivated. I think he's going to be situationally motivated, and that might take a little more time.
Yeah. As far as money-wise, on the top edge rushing contacts right now, TJ Watt's making $28 million. Von's not going to get that at his age. But it drops down, 6 through 10 is in the 20 to 16.5 range. I'm guessing that's what Von's going to get. I think he's still going to get big money. And because he's, the way these contracts work, if you guys don't know this yet, we'll talk about it, I'm sure 100 times between now and when it happens, but there's new TV money coming down the tracks, and the salary cap is probably about to explode. Talking about Derek Carr getting 40-45 million a year. That all screams to me NFL is very excited about what's coming down the lines as far as the cap dollars and the cap explosion. So Von Miller, I think he'd get 16 to 20 million a year, honestly, and it'd probably be I would say a 2 to 3 year, something that gives a team a little bit of flexibility on the back end. But who knows? I mean, Von's in a unique situation where he's won 2 rings. He's a free agent. He's never been at this point. Also, he's never actually been a true free agent. So maybe he's going to want to see what teams are out there and offering him. Maybe they're offering him more than just the dollars too. Situation matters a lot.
And part of it is the, guys kind of measure their respect level by dollar signs. Even if they don't need the money, they're like, I want to feel respected, and I feel respected when you pay me like I'm one of the best in the game. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it will be purely, let me go back on that, purely a financial decision. He's going to go to a team, I would bet, that made the playoffs this year. That one I would just about be sure on. He probably wants to stay in LA.
I think he'd love to stay in LA. I think also, if you could see it you could definitely see it, and you follow the Broncos at all, you know this, but Von and Odell Beckham are like really, really, really good friends. Maybe even best friends. I don't know. They're super close. So I think Odell Beckham Jr. is also going to be a free agent. Maybe they're going to want to hook up, not really, but team up together wherever they go next. Would be interesting to see that happen. And shout out to Odell Beckham. I guess he kind of proven right in that regard of, hey, Baker Mayfield can't get to that backside dig ever. Just can't get there for God knows what reason. Doesn't trust his arm, and Matt Stafford does. And boom, bang, there he is.
Who can? Matt Stafford can make every throw on the field.
Yeah. Not great for Baker Mayfield out there, given how immediate, and that's a pretty complicated offense for the Rams receivers to run, because they ask their receivers to know every single thing. They don't have there's two different thoughts here with building a team. Again, we can get into this in the offseason, but some people say you want to build your wide receiver to score like a basketball team where you have a lot of different niches and skills going on there. Rams honestly want their guys to be able to do a little bit of everything, so they give you the same looks and they can confuse you with where guys are lining up. So will be interesting to see what happens with Odell Beckham Jr. Hopefully he's healthy. That was really sad to see him go down. Trevor coming in, I'm sure, with stars.
No, not this time, but Trevor's always such a, Trevor's got a question I like, and he's always a big supporter of the show, so I hit on him anyway.
That's fine, Trevor.
Says Nick and Scott, in hindsight, I think we should have traded for Stafford. Would Stafford have come? One. And two, what was the deal for the Rams? Was it basically 2 number ones and Jared Goff?
Yep.
Is that pretty close?
That was the deal. I think the Rams might have sent back like a 3 or a 5.
Maybe also some throw in. So does your number one last year and your number one this year and Drew Lock get you Matthew Stafford?
No.
Because if it did, then yes, you should have made that trade.
There were some rumors they were sniffing around Judy as well. But even then, I love Judy. Your train doesn't leave the goddamn station until you have a quarterback. I'm sorry to say that, but it's true. It's no fact is more true in the NFL than if you don't have the quarterback, pack it up. We'll see you again next season.
But I just think of it, Nick, like look at the difference in the picks. It was number 9 versus what did the Rams send them? And now they're going to get a 32 in return instead of, well, they wouldn't have been 9 again this year. They would have been, 20 at worst, but they probably even under Fangio weren't going to be 32. So your 2 picks that you sent them would have been a lot more valuable. So you might have been able to take off. And I don't know that Jared Goff went to a Super Bowl, but how much of a downgrade is Drew Lock on one more year? Because that was part of it too, is Detroit wasn't then hooked to Jared Goff long term. They could dive back into the quarterback pool. So if it was 2 number ones and Drew Lock for Matthew Stafford, yes, you should have made that deal. If it was more than that, then I got to know what it is.
Yeah, let's say there's talk that Denver didn't want to give up Drew Lock. I'm not sure how much that's true, or if it was like Detroit saying, "Hey, we don't really want Drew Lock. How about give us Jerry Jeudy instead?" Which
I haven't seen a whole lot that made me think anybody at Denver wanted to keep Drew Lock.
Let's Happy Valentine's Day. But now for sure, you're right. We'll see what happens. Well, I guess
that's not a knock on Drew. That's talking about the administration and coaching staff.
Yeah.
I'm not. That's not a comment about Drew.
Well, didn't you see
about about Fangio and Shermer?
Haven't you seen George Payton and Nathaniel Hackett talk up Drew Lock? Sorry, I'm just giving you a hard time there, Scott. I have to tease you. We got Colin coming in. Morning to you, Colin. I noticed there's another ex-Bronco besides Vaughn who will be getting a ring. I looked over the roster and nobody's sticking out to me. It was just a quick runs over while we're doing the show, but I don't see anybody who I'm for sure was an ex-Bronco on that roster for the Rams. So maybe it's a coach that's sticking out. I'm not sure. I'm guessing it's a coach. But who knows? Maybe you can let us know in the chat. Peter Middleton, wonder which players of the Rams defense come to the Broncos. Interesting comment here. That's a Rams defense. I haven't looked at their Rams salary cap, so I don't even know who is becoming a free agent for them besides the likes of Von Miller, of course. But the thing about the Rams is that they built a very top-heavy team, and then the rest of it is kind of very specific situational role players, which are valuable, but it's not like there's a bunch of these players on this Rams defense that you want to be signing big contracts coming over to Denver, because they didn't build the team that way. So I don't know. Maybe one of these defensive backs would be interested in coming over, because like I said in the show Saturday night, the Rams played the 3rd highest rate of 6+ defensive back looks in the NFL. So I'm assuming that you would see a lot more of safety, and especially safety body types coming over for this Broncos defense. Caden Stearns plus Justin Simmons, not going to cut it alone if they're going to run that much 6+ defensive back looks. But it'll be interesting. nobody here really sticks out to me on the Rams defense. Greg Gaines, A'Shawn Robinson, maybe you're looking to bring in some defensive line depth, but I don't know.
Yeah, A'Shawn Robinson would be a nice pick.
Dude, he's so good in the run game.
Yeah, run stopper extraordinaire. Depending on what again, You don't want to overpay, but it sure is a nice piece to have, to say I can put him in at first down and second and short and third and short and have him in there and get tough. Again, you need a couple bullies in the trenches because you lacked them last year. Travis coming in with some stars saying, "Morning, fellas. So glad Von got another ring. It was nice." And while he was quiet, so to speak, he was in the backfield all game.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't necessarily, he was affecting the game all game long, even if he didn't have the numbers to show it. So, you know, when we're doing the show, I'm watching Von every snap, and Von had a good game. He really did. He was in the backfield constantly. So congratulations to him, and congratulations to the youngest ever coach, Atlanta Georgia's Sean McVay.
I got to put on Travis's hat
for winning the Super Bowl.
Morning, Travis, to you. And real quick, getting back to that last comment, would the Broncos bring over anybody? I'm just looking over contracts. One sticks out. Greg Gaines. He is the nose tackle for the Rams. He is very good at stopping the run, former 4th-round pick out of Seattle's own University of Washington. And he's going to be a free agent. Mike Purcell, he is a contract that's really easy to get out of next season. He was paid prior to George Payton's coming on here in Denver as one of the last moves that John Elway made. So maybe Greg Gaines is somebody you're looking to marginally upgrade the defensive line, and you believe Greg Gaines to do that. Also, the Broncos are going to be bringing over the Rams assistant defensive line coach, who's going to become their new defensive line coach, whose name I do not know off the top of my head, and I'm trying to look it up as fast as I can. But so there's a connection there that maybe you would see that coming over here. So let me see. We got Mike Kliss is tweeting out everything this morning. Thanks, Mike. You guys want breaking news? Mike Kliss is a lot of
that. And I'm going to hit on a couple of these real quick too.
Marcus Dixon coming over.
Marcus Dixon.
That's the name.
That name rings a bell. There was a player from Pepperell, Georgia, who got in trouble that was headed to Vanderbilt. His name was Marcus Dixon.
He was a former defensive end. He played for the Cowboys and the Jets in the NFL. And now he's the assistant defensive line coach.
Where is he from?
His early years, his college career, accepted a football scholarship to Hampton University. Small school.
That's our Marcus Dixon. Marcus Dixon got in some trouble with as a high school senior with on-campus relationship. And Daddy didn't like that. And he did jail time. That one actually made Oprah. I think that's the same kid, you know, big black football player with the white girl in Pepperell, Georgia. And he was headed to Vanderbilt. He wasn't just headed to Hampton. He was headed to Vanderbilt. That was, and he kind of got railroaded. So I'm very glad to hear his name again in such a positive note.
Yeah,
because he got railroaded. I mean, this is old South crap that he had to go through. So
it said he was a straight A student and got a full ride scholarship to Vanderbilt, but was unable to take it because of his subsequent imprisonment.
Yep, that's why he was in jail. He was messing around with a younger girl on campus, and you know, 9th grade senior. I had a 9th grade girl that was going out with a 9th grade boy going out with one of the senior girls. You know, I mean, it's high school.
Yeah.
And daddy pressed charges, and he went to prison for it.
400 over a year. Wow. Well, that's
Marcus.
Got a story.
Marcus, congratulations. I'm proud of you, kid. He was one of my first guys. So that was about 2003, 2004.
Good for him, man. That's awesome that he could overcome that and get a good life going there. Clea coming in here. Happy hungover Super Bowl Monday. What were you drinking last night? Gotta let us know. I was enjoying some water. I had some nice local IPAs because I'm nothing if not a stereotype, but it's a good time. Oh, sorry. Howler Surf Bro, anyone else think Ramsey is overrated? No, he's not overrated. He is so good. The thing about cornerback play is it's volatile year to year, but Ramsey, I'm very comfortable saying this, given the years that he's been dominant. It's not just a single season kind of situation. I'd say Ramsey's the best cornerback since Darrelle Revis in the NFL.
And it's hard to play defense these days. Yeah. I mean, they're allowed to grab you by the face mask and chuck you to the ground, but you're not allowed to touch them.
Yeah.
It's hard. Every rule in the last 50 years has gone towards the offense, every single one of them. So, again, it's hard. They're going to get beat. They're going to get beat a lot. Mark Schrader come with the big stars. So, assuming we can't get Rodgers or Wilson, what would be the best way for the Broncos to go, in your opinions? I like the idea of getting someone like Carson Strong. I like Desmond Ridder. I really do. In the third, somewhere in that neighborhood. I don't want a quarterback at 9. I'd like to see who else might be available in free agency. Get a free agent veteran without blowing all of my cap money on it. Come in, Drew Lock, 1 more year, because he's only got 1 more year in his contract. That's the thing that keeps getting glossed over every time someone says, well, we should just ride with Drew. Drew Lock has 1 year on his contract.
Yep.
He might kill it, and then he's a free agent. Then what? Oh, yeah, it was great. And he says, bye. He's not. There's so much that has to happen for Drew Lock to be a long-term solution, including a new contract.
First off is playing well enough.
Which might be the easy part.
Yeah.
The other part is elevating his play.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see.
I'd like to see a quarterback in the third round, one of these 6 guys, whoever falls down there, and bring him in.
Yeah.
And then do your best. Say, we're going to ride with Drew. You're going to hear all the great things about who we've got. See where it goes. And if it doesn't take you where you want it, you might package 3 picks together and try and get your quarterback in 2023.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with the Broncos. There's 6 quarterbacks in this class that I think are viable options. I wouldn't feel comfortable taking any of them at 9. Personally, maybe Malik Willis, if you think he can get it together. I know that he's got a way to go with his development. Maybe Matt Corral. Makes me grit my teeth even saying that, because his game is very hard to... How he won at Ole Miss is not very replicable to the NFL level, because it's an RPO, slant glance heavy, and scrambling. And he's like, barely 6 foot, probably weighs barely 200 pounds. Like, it's not, you're going to get hit by an NFL linebacker and you're going to lose your accuracy because your base is going to be injured and you just can't play the same. So, I don't know. It scares me. Last night's empowered me a little bit. I'm feeling empowered, to say this. I think Kirk Cousins is the next best option if he's available. I don't think he's going to be available because Kevin O'Connell worked with him at Washington back then, and Kirk Cousins is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL right now. Sorry, this just is what it is. That if that upsets you, then probably you're more upset about the quality of the quarterback play at the top of the league right now than where Kirk Cousins is playing than anything. But other than that, I would probably go pretty hard at Kirk because I think he's a pretty good quarterback, and this roster is ready to win outside the quarterback position the next 3 years. None of that lines up for the rookie quarterbacks. It does line up for a veteran quarterback of Cousins caliber and above.
Any of the rookie quarterbacks, not even last year. The best of the best, the most successful of the bunch was still a mediocre quarterback in Mac Jones. Now, good for a rookie.
Yeah.
But you're not Bill Belichick. I hate to break this to you, but you're not Bill Belichick in the New England Patriots. New coach coming in, new coach, new system, new everything, coming off a 7-10 record. And Travis Starbucks just saying, he'd come in with some stars saying, I just hope we can find our answer at QB. Me too, but there'll still be questions. There always will be, always. Doesn't matter who comes in. They're talking. You have Russell Wilson, you have Deshaun Watson, you have Tom Brady, you have Aaron Rodgers. They're all talking quarterback right now. Yep. Not the only one not talking quarterback right now is probably the LA Rams, and that's it. Yep. Joe Burrow. We're a big fan of Joe Burrow. And Trevor, appreciate you coming in, man. We love the stars, but we're not all about the stars. You're a big part of this community, and I see a good question. If I've got time, I'm definitely going to hit on it.
Yeah, if Scott puts up one sometimes, and if you've been a common star giver, then I'm just going to assume. So, which is not always the best, but that's how it's got to go sometimes. DJ's Bail Bonds coming in here. If you guys had too much fun last night, DJ's Bail Bonds. Free sponsorship for you there, DJ. Morning, guys. Rick Barrios coming in saying, since he must invest in their offensive line, man, that was rough to watch. Great game, Los Angeles. And I think this is a good takeaway in this game. Just so many takeaways. We might not even get to the mock draft Monday on here. Might have to change the name of the show because we're already late. There's so many Super Bowl takeaways to get to. Maybe it'll be a mock draft Tuesday. But the takeaway here is the Bengals. I think they arrived early to station early. They are probably a year ahead of schedule. They're going to have a bleep ton of cap space this year. It'll be 3 years left of Burrow cost control after this. And they're a team
and the receiver.
And the receivers.
Chase is cost control too.
And so is T. Higgins, and they're going to be great. They paid Joe Mixon a lot, but they're not paying a lot else. That defense was built in free agency over 2 cycles, which, again, that's the thing about defense. If you can capture it in one season and just be good enough, you can go pretty far. This is a team that had the depth, and across the board, they could do that. But they arrived early on the offensive line. And while I think that the Bengals, they don't have to turn into the early 2010s Dallas Cowboys offensive line, but there's a level of offensive line that you need, and they're not there right now. So they definitely got to invest in that. I do want to say though, some of it is Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow invites a lot of the pressure, a lot of the hits, just of how aggressive he is hanging in the pocket, looking for those kill shots. he's probably going to have to learn how to get to that check down read a little quicker and live with it more than he does right now. Otherwise, the hits are going to keep coming because the offensive line, they do need to invest in it. It's not all them as far as the Joe Burrow hits.
Yeah, protect yourself a little bit, kid. It's okay.
Yeah.
Especially during the regular season. And maybe he did, but he was still the most sacked quarterback to ever make the Super Bowl. I think I heard one of the talking points. They have three top 100 picks, I think, right in that neighborhood. I have to look it back up, but I looked it up last night, and it was like 3 picks in the top 100, 3 picks in the top 100 of this class, and they can get 2 starting offensive linemen out of it. Yep. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them go offensive line, especially on the interior. I don't mind going guard at 31 if it means he's going to come in and be an immediate starter, and I'm already a Super Bowl team, and that's a hole. Yep. Don't mind that at all.
Nope. Especially if you're close, go for it. Those are the times that it makes sense. Unless it's a running back, then we'll fight. You could probably use edge depth or corner depth more than a running back. Looking at the Chiefs when they drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But Ramsey's overrated. I don't think you guys understand schematically how much they put on Ramsey on that defense in the back end. The Rams, again, just studying the Rams defense because Ejiro Evero is coming over here to the Broncos, Super Bowl champion, defensive backs coach. But the Rams like to play a lot of Raheem Morris is their defensive coordinator, and they essentially ran a iteration or a version of what Brandon Staley did last year with the Rams as the defensive coordinator. They're living in the too high pre-snap off coverage world. Rams played the highest rate of off coverage, the highest rate of pre-snap to two safeties in the NFL. And what they like to do, they play 5-1-5 boxes, 5 men on the line of scrimmage, 1 linebacker, and then the rest defensive backs. And they'd play cover 3, walking down from those 2 high safeties. And on the back end, one of those safeties would be essentially a robber roll coming down. A lot of times that would be the weak side guy. So he could take those crossers on the strong side of the formation. And Ramsey's playing on the back side with no safety help because the safety's shading over to the other side, essentially playing off coverage ISO man on the backside of the defense, and sometimes also rotating over to the slot. So it's not only that Ramsey is very talented, he is put in the toughest situation constantly for that defense. They're like, listen, you have so much ground here to cover, or you're going to be isolated in coverage. There's only maybe 5 or 7 cornerbacks in the NFL that we trust to even do this consistently. We're going to lean on you to do that. So I definitely disagree that Ramsey's overrated. He is really good.
And one of my questions always is, well, what do you rate him? I don't know what that means. Overrated is relative. Is he the best cover man in the NFL? Is that where you're rating him? And the answer might be, yeah, probably.
I would say so.
Is he the second coming of Deion Sanders and Rod Woodson? No, that's probably too much. But again, what are you rating him to say he's overrated? I don't know. So that's a relative statement for me always.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think he's so talented and so versatile too. The fact that he can safety, nickel, boundary corner, doesn't matter. Get him out there. Kaleon Green, yo, good to see you, Kaleon. Kareem Gomez, good to see Kareem. Kareem and I go back a bit out there in North Carolina. Kareem, good to see you. Hope you're doing pretty darn well. Bearded Broncos said coming in here too. Good to see you. We got, let's keep it going.
Here's one that's interesting to me. Todd, so what about maybe playing off QBs until Arch Manning comes into the league and gun for him? All right. Arch is at least 3 years away. I think if he's class of 2022, he's at least 3 years away.
He's not even committed yet.
People don't want Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. A lot of folks don't want Aaron Rodgers for 3 years because then they're going to be, well, we'll be right back in the same boat in 2025. Yeah. And so it's like, okay, well, we'll just punt on quarterback and stink for 3 years instead, and then we'll just get Arch Manning. Well, there's going to be 31 other teams that are going to be pretty interested in Arch Manning too.
Maybe. So, let's see what he looks like in college first. God,
I know, but let's just say he is. Trevor Lawrence did it.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence was that guy as a freshman in high school and worked his way up to the number 1 pick. He did it. Yeah. So let's say Arch Manning is that guy.
Yeah.
Well, 1, it's not going to be that easy to get him. 2, to get him, you're really going to have to suck.
You have to earn him.
You're going to have the number 1 overall.
Yeah.
But again, I think that'd be great if you could guarantee it. But in order to guarantee that, you're going to have to go through 3 more years of 5-12.
Yeah.
At best, it'll be more like from 7-10 to 5-12 to 3-14 to 1-16.
Yeah.
To get Arch Manning, that's the trajectory that you're going to have to take. And for some people, I get it. It might be worth it. Yeah, but we got the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
But I want to win. I want the guy that's going to help us win now. And if it takes me 3 first-round picks to do it, all right, I get 3 first-round picks. He helps us win for 3 years. We win 36 games in 3 years. He retires. It's 2025. Now I got my first-round draft pick back.
Yep.
Huh. Now I can draft a quarterback at number 1, even if it's in the 30s. All right.
Yep.
There's might be some pretty good quarterbacks then too. Now I can build for the future because I just had a hell of a run. Anyway, I thought that comment caught me as a little bit interesting, Todd, because like I said, in order to do that, you're really going to have to stink if Arch Manning is the guy that we think he's going to be. Jacob Foster, as always, coming with stars. We love you, Jacob. Huge supporter of the show. Thank you so much.
Also, got to say hello to Spencer coming in here saying, "Hey, Nick, Spencer and I have bonded over some fishing on Twitter, and he's holding the picture's so small here, but I think you're holding straight bass here on this picture. So, gonna appreciate it and give you a shout out there. Hope you got some fishing. I'm dying to do some fishing. Scott, you're in Georgia. There's a lot of fishing to do there. Are you really?
I don't fish. Come on down. You take my son loves fishing. My dad loves fishing. So come on down. Y'all go fishing. I would rather watch you fish than fish. I'd rather sit on the bank of the river or on the dock and read a book than fish.
Man, I'll tell you, I have some good memories of sitting out in the bum country in central Illinois, listening to the scratchiest radio you ever heard, listening to an Iowa game. There's some core memories there for me on that one. We're already at 40 minutes. Scott, are there any supers that we're looking to get in here?
Yeah, I'm trying to catch up. I'm not sure. 2 minutes ago, it was 2:11. So scrolling down a little bit, Travis had popped back in at 10:11 my time. So as I get back down to him, Travis. See, I can't find him. I wish that I want a filter button here so I can filter. I found Travis saying it would be sad if Aaron Donald actually retired. He's a generational player. I'll tell you what, I don't want him to retire. When these guys start talking, I want them to play as long as it's physically capable without jeopardizing their long-term health, because I'm a fan of the game.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of these players, and I want to watch them play for a long time, as long as I enjoy watching them play. There's some guys, Bill Romanowski, if you weren't a Denver Broncos fan, man, retire. I don't like watching you play. But guys like Aaron Donald who go out there and play hard and are so talented, enjoy it, man. Just enjoy it. Enjoy watching him play. It's special.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you, Travis, for your comments here. I feel the same way, honest to God, and maybe it's because he's not with the Patriots anymore and the Broncos aren't battling in the top. But I'm really sad that Tom Brady retired, because he still could have been great for another 2-3 years. So maybe there's some rumors that Tom Brady maybe would go to San Francisco. God, if that's true, Broncos need to throw everything they can at the 49ers for Trey Lance. Maybe the 49ers would still keep Trey Lance in that situation, but who knows?
There's also talk he could end up back with the Buccaneers, that he's not completely done.
Well, who knows? But Tom Brady was still playing at a very high level, and I actually really started to enjoy Tampa Tom, because I feel like his personality got to come out a little bit more than the just angry, I live in the cold, Bill Belichick Patriots. Not a fun era for me. Claude coming in saying, "Go Broncos." Thank you so much, Claude. Let's go, Claude. Happy Valentine's Day to you. Thank you so much for your support. We got some foraging talk coming in here in the chat now. Now this is some off-season summer talk. I can't wait for the summertime, picking all the berries and the hiking trails. Peter Middleton, who is a practice squad player, a depth player that gets significant playing time next year. I would say the one right now on the surface that looks like they're going to get a lot of playing time that we did not see much of last year. Maybe this is a little bit of a cop-out suggestion, but Michael Ojemudia is somebody right now who I would say is in line to get a lot of snaps. We just talked about how the Rams this last season used the highest rate of dime looks in the entire NFL last year. You're losing 3 of your top 6 defensive backs on paper right now: Bryce Callahan, Kareem Jackson, Kyle Fuller. Ojemudia last year lost almost the entire season because of I think it was a bleeding hamstring, kind of a slow bleeder that sometimes only needs time to get better. It's like he got hurt in preseason, then we didn't see him till week 15 or week 16. So I think Michael Ojemudia, a former 3rd-round pick, is in line for a lot of snaps next season. So we'll see how that looks, but he's one that I think people should start to write in their plans.
I could only think of one off the top of my head. I don't know the practice squad like I know the 2 deep. So Seth Williams, Seth Williams, wide receiver, got to start, made a play, looked good doing it. If there's if Hamler doesn't come back, if Judy is dealt, if there's an injury in there, then Seth Williams could step up and be another big body. Like I said, just by default. So we'll dig into that one in the offseason. I don't know the practice squad good enough, well enough. Sorry.
No, yeah, totally fine. The other one who kind of just kicked around for a bit, that's would be interesting. Sean Beyer, you're set to lose Eric Saubert. Who knows with Andrew Beck this offseason as well. Sean Beyer kicked around, undrafted free agent, rookie from Iowa. Go Hawks. So he's one that sticks out to me. Also, one of your 7th round picks last year in Marquise Spencer. The Broncos drafted. He was a former 4- or 5-star recruit. Transferred. Is moving from like more of an edge defensive tackle, heavy edge look to a interior defensive lineman. So that's one that is to keep a name on as well, because he's got talent. He's just was always going to take a year or two to keep building that body and work on that technique. Lawrence Rivera coming in with the support saying, I don't think the league's going to call fouls no more on quarterback hits. I think it's a new era. They're going to call fouls on quarterback hits. This is if Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers get hurt and you're having to play God knows who, they're going to protect the quarterback no matter what, because it is money at the end of the day. And if the good quarterbacks aren't playing, the product is significantly worse. I mean, you know how bad preseason games can look? That's what you're going to get. That's what their product's going to look like if your quarterback's getting hurt. So I think they're still going to be calling hits on quarterback.
They're doing more to protect the quarterback. I'm not sure where this comes from. Is it one, Aaron Donald shoved Joe Burrow out of bounds because he was in bounds by 2 yards? You expect, he's like, that's a clean hit. And my son was watching it with me. He said something. He's like, no, I expect my offensive lineman to come over there and get in the face of Aaron Donald for – he didn't have to, but it wasn't illegal for doing that. I said there was some pushy shovey. That's why there was no flags thrown. But I want my offensive lineman to do that, and I don't mind that Aaron Donald did that.
Yep.
Little pushy shovey. Everybody go back. No flags thrown. And he goes, yeah. If you throw a punch, they'll throw a flag. I said if you throw a punch, they'll throw you out.
Yep.
That's why I always railed on hockey. It's like, they have to fight. They have to protect the players. I'm like, my ass. But football's every single bit as physical as hockey. And if you throw a punch, you're gone. That's why there's no fighting.
Yep.
It's like, I love hockey. If I want to watch a fight, I'll watch a fight. Anyway.
Yep. Matt saying, how about Von Miller winning the Super Bowl? Matt Productions, good to see you. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's probably the thing that makes me the most happy. And also seeing Von smile, man. Von's got one of the best smiles in football. When he's actually out there having fun, he's just a joy. So really excited to see what he does this offseason. Would love him to come back to Denver. Understand it's a business. Denver shouldn't overpay also. So just cheering for Von, one of my favorite players all time. Damon Mitchell, $4.99 super, saying giving up on Locke is a mistake. He can make every throw, and the whole fan base is pushing him out after a preseason-less year. We lack patience. Damon, I'm going to disagree with you on this one. I know that I'm a seeing is believing kind of guy. I'm not a man of faith. Think what you will about that one, but definitely a show me state kind of guy. And Locke has had opportunities over 3 different years, and it hasn't been obviously apparent. You can go back to the training camps where Patrick Mahomes' rookie year, he comes in and there is just absolute buzz and like people tripping over themselves about day one training camp. The arm talent and what he looks like. Justin Herbert, the same thing. Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson, doesn't just have to be these first round picks. You have not had the same with Locke. It hasn't been this, guy walks on the field and it's like, oh, yep, we have a dude. This is incredible. And I think greatness personally at the quarterback position is mostly obviously apparent right away. And it's more on the individual player to be great than the situation around them. There are situations obviously where you want to have the proper environment to cultivate the talent, no doubt about that. But I think the Broncos really attacked the offense around Drew Lock. I mean, they paid a guard, top 5 interior offensive lineman money. They went out and drafted 2 wide receivers with their first 2 picks. They drafted a center for him in the first round. They paid Melvin Gordon top 5 running back money on a per year basis. And they didn't go out and get competition at all around Drew Lock in that season. Maybe one of the bigger issues for that 2020 year. Jeff Driscoll, you're not pushing Lock to be great with Jeff freaking Driscoll. Are you kidding me? So I disagree with you as far as patience. I think that go out there and prove it. Go out there and earn it. Go out there and be great, or good luck on your next team.
I want to hit on a couple of these that he puts in here. Damon, thank you for the super. We lack patience. Everybody lacks patience. No. Everybody lacks patience. So that's not a Denver phenomenon. Everybody lacks patience. Giving up on Locke is a mistake. I'm not giving up on Locke. What I'm not willing to do is automatically connect the dots and saying if this and this had happened, he'd automatically become a top 10, top 5 starter because he's got a nice arm. And that's what I see happening too much. It was like, if only we had done this, then Locke would have been great. No, it's hard. It is hard to be great in the NFL. Yeah. He hasn't shown that he would continue that trajectory. He's got a nice arm, but it's not giving up, but it's also not making the assumption that he's going to become this superstar quarterback if the right pieces are put around him. So I would hedge my bets by going and getting another quarterback and letting them compete. Put them in the same situation if they compete. And if it's a guy that has already earned it, I know Jeff Noyes is in here today, and he gets a little upset when he says, but you want to give the job to Aaron Rodgers and not have him compete for it. Aaron Rodgers has earned it, dude. He's earned it. Check the resume. He's already earned it. Maybe not with Denver, but he's earned it. And if he comes in, he's the quarterback. There's no way any reasonable mind would think that Drew Lock is a better quarterback than for the Denver Broncos and Aaron Rodgers. No way. So I'm not giving up on him, but I'm not going to just automatically place him on a pedestal based on things that haven't happened yet. So
he's a second-round
pick.
He
does have to earn it. And everybody likes patience, Damon. Speaking of which, because Travis comes in, the opposite of patience is everybody being quick to anoint the next guy based on a good game.
Yeah.
So thoughts on Tyler Huntley from the Ravens. Travis, I think I saw him play just a little bit. That's not a big enough sample size for me to anoint him the guy that we need to go after.
Yeah.
The NFL is littered with the Scott Mitchells of the world who went out and had a couple spot starts and got a big contract, but they just weren't good enough on a larger timeline.
Yeah.
So I would be interested in seeing more for him. And if he comes up in free agency or he's available for cheap, take a flyer on him. Sure.
Yeah.
But again, the opposite of the patience is how quickly we're ready to anoint the next guy.
Yeah. I really like Tyler Huntley coming out of Utah just because I thought he had a decently live arm and he was super slippery as a runner. And in that draft class, I was advocating to take him day 3 for the Broncos out of all the day 3 quarterbacks. He's playing in a perfect situation for him underneath, oh my gosh, the name's escaping me. A really good offensive coordinator for the Ravens, who is Greg Roman, a very good coordinator for that type of running quarterback. And he's fine, but he's more valuable on the Ravens, especially with Lamar Jackson's injury history on that cost-controlled rookie quarterback that they have behind him, than he probably would be for the draft capital you're willing to give up. So maybe a year down the road where he only has 2 years of control left, but right now with 3 years of control left, Lamar Jackson injured up and down, it's very valuable for them to have that young cost-controlled quarterback who can run the system. So I don't think there's any way they should give him up. Lawrence Evero, what's going on with Vaughn? Why wasn't his family there? I was about to tear up seeing him tear up. I don't know anything about Vaughn's personal life there with the kid, the fiance, girlfriend. I don't know what his situation is with his child's mother, or his personal life in general. But I don't know. It was good to see Vaughn out there smiling and having fun and winning another Super Bowl, bringing home the hardware.
And Damon coming back in saying, look at Allen when Buffalo still believed in him. Look at Herbert when LA still believed in him. Denver went the conservative route and stubbed Lock. What we don't mention are the 100 quarterbacks that don't become Josh Allen and Justin Herbert, because that's who most of them are. There's only so many openings every year in quarterbacks. And one, where was Allen drafted? Top 10, right?
7 overall.
How about Herbert?
I think also 7 overall.
Yeah, there's a much bigger investment in there. There is financial, draft capital. So the belief was there earlier than a guy you took in the second round. Yep. It's harder. It's harder for those guys. Try and be a walk-on somewhere. You got to beat out the guys that are better than you because there's more investment. If you're a walk-on at a team, they're going to give the guy with the scholarship many more chances because they believe in them. They've invested in them. A second-round pick's like, okay, maybe this work out, maybe it doesn't. Now it's up to you to step up. But when we talk about the year 3 bump, or it takes 3 years this, or takes 3 years that, there's this automatic connection that's like, oh, if he had just hit year 3, it would have been fine. Most guys don't hit year 3. Most of them don't because they're not
second-round picks.
Good enough. They're not good enough.
Yep.
We don't know for sure whether he is or not, but please stop just connecting the dots as if it's a fact, because it's not. It's not a fact that he is going to be, will ever be, or was ever going to be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. I'm not saying he can't be, but these logical assumptions that he is or was or should be or could be, it's not fact. It's hope. It's It's projection, and
Yep.
projections are not fact.
Yep. And with Herbert too, this is one that drives me insane because Herbert came into a situation that, people, Drew Lock could never succeed behind the offensive line. Let's check Herbert's offensive line last year, his rookie season. Oh, worst in the entire NFL in Pro Football Focus grade and ESPN pass block win rate. He was the highest pressured quarterback in the NFL. Even though he had a pretty good time to release. So, okay, offensive line out the window. Well, Drew Lock didn't succeed because it was a sick bug offseason. Justin Herbert's coming in as a rookie. Everybody's new around him in a sick bug offseason, and he sets the all-time passing record. Okay, well, it's the reason Locke didn't succeed because of Herbert is because of the offensive staff around him. Anthony Lynn was fired, so Justin Herbert's already had 2 head coaches, and Anthony Lynn sucked so much as an offensive play caller, he was relieved of his duties midseason in his first year with the Lions. So well, I guess it's not that too. Maybe it's just the quarterback's flipping great. And again, Herbert is really talented, so probably enough Drew Lock time getting in here on that, but we'll see what happens. If it is Lock this season, there's no way in heck that the Broncos go in like 2020 where it's Lock plus literal garbage quarterback, Jeff Driscoll type back there. They will bring in a competition for Drew Lock, whether that be a Marcus Mariota, Tyrod Taylor, Andy Dalton type of quarterback. I know everybody's groaning, but that's the caliber of quarterback that Lock is in the same vein as right now. And he's going to have to go out there and beat those guys in a quarterback competition to earn the right to start. And that's if you went into next year and you said, oh yeah, I'm going to pitch you, Brandon Allen and Drew Lock in the quarterback room, you're going to get laughed out of the room. And guess who's going to be pissed? The players in the locker room. They're going to be mad too, because that's saying like, this is what we're doing here. That's going to be enough to get us to the playoffs this year. No, they're going to have to bring in a veteran to compete with Drew Lock. And if Lock wins, God bless him, because that would be great. I think that would be the best case scenario if you're bringing in a Andy Dalton. That's what we're cheering for. But I'm a skeptic at heart. I think you're a skeptic at heart as well. We have data so far. We have trends that we can rely on. Maybe he breaks those, but right now you got to rely on the priors, and the priors right now are not good enough.
Well, and Shane coming in. Appreciate you, Shane. So I've been rooting for Lock, but you both speak the truth. There is no guarantee will ever amount to anything.
I mean, he's already amounted to something. He's real.
Yeah, but again, there's nothing that we've seen so far that says you've got the guy. That says you've got the guy, and there's absolutely no sure way to make sure that he is the guy. That's where I just start rolling my eyes, or at least one of them that still rolls up. I roll my eye that it's like, oh, if just this and this had happened, then Drew Lock would have been fine. Maybe. And Shane, appreciate the stars coming in, my friend. Absolutely. And the closer is knowing that we're coming up on an hour, and I know where the closer feels on this. Ethan, the DWI guy, is coming in with $100 with a second huge donation to the show, contribution to the show. Says we will know on Aaron Rodgers in the next couple of weeks. That'll be nice. And the TFAR, for those of you who don't know, is a trade for Aaron Rodgers fund. Hashtag the closer. What's interesting to me, Nick, and then we'll get out of here, is saying the two teams that are involved are playing the PR game. We want to offer Aaron Rodgers everything he wants to. We want Russell Wilson to be here for as long as he wants to. So if they leave, then they're the bad guys.
Yep.
Is it true? Maybe. Is it not? And that's okay. Whenever you leave a team, you're going to be painted as the bad guy, and how you handle it on the way out is going to reflect a lot. But again, there's no easy way to break up. If you want to leave, you want to leave, and you're going to get negative reactions regardless.
Yeah. I mean, gosh, I'm putting in my brain, not getting my hopes up. Maybe I'm just glass half empty right now, but I don't think Rodgers is leaving Green Bay. It would be great. And God, if Ethan, if your support could will it to happen, then God, maybe
he's
hashtag
2 for 2.
I know. Hashtag the End World Hunger Fund or something. God, let's keep it going here. We got to use these powers for better goods than just the Broncos. But thank you so much, Ethan, for your support. It's great to see, and we really appreciate you. We did not get to the mock draft Monday. It's already been an hour. A lot of good stuff to talk about here. Really fun to hang out with you guys after the Super Bowl. Let's do it tomorrow, Scott, unless there's any breaking news with the Broncos.
No, that's fine. It's hard to do a mock draft when nobody wants to draft in the top 5. I don't want the number 1 pick. Do you want the number 1 pick? Somebody come offer me something for the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, being 8 and 9 is a much better place right now financially than being 1 or 2.
Yeah, it's a lot of people have said this draft is really bad in the top 10 overall as far as the difference maker, blue chip player talent. It's not going to be like last year's draft class in the top, but it's a really good draft class in that 15 to 50 range. There's some depth. You're going to get some solid starters in that range this year. Maybe not superstars, but you're going to get a lot of good players that are going to be starters in a long time in the league. So I don't think it's the 2013 draft, so to speak, but going to be great for in that range. And I'd love the Broncos to trade back and get a pick there and maybe get a 2023 pick as well. But who knows? And I think because of that, also, you're going to see quarterbacks inflated even more than they normally would be, because there's not, I can get a potentially starting caliber tackle, or I can get a potentially starting caliber quarterback. I guess I'll lean with the quarterback on that one, even though he's not a top 10 in most years.
I just wrote on my, and I linked it on my YouTube page. Why a good Malik Willis is good for the Atlanta Falcons. And I could do a control replace and change Falcons with Broncos, and it's the same article. It really is, because you want the quarterbacks. You want at least one of these guys to jump up, and at worst, you take them. Okay. The second option is somebody else ahead of you takes them, and now you've got a player to choose from. You've got another player. I didn't want the quarterback anyway. That leaves me another player. And third, if you're going to trade down, you want a quarterback to be there.
Yep.
You're not going to get the Trey Lance deal where 3 first rounds are coming in for Trey Lance, but you might end up with the Bears moving from 20 to 11 to get Justin Fields, and it gave them a number 1, a 4, and a 5 to move from 20 to 11. The Giants go back from 11 to 20, and now they've got another top 10 pick this year.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd be real interested in that deal. So you want the quarterbacks. If you start hearing the Denver Broncos hyping up quarterbacks, don't panic if you don't like any of them. It is in their best interests that the quarterbacks are very highly valued.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the quarterbacks starting around pick 6 to pick 20, I'd guess I'd put it at 2.5 in that range. Over under if we're betting odds. So we'll see what happens there. But Steelers, the Saints, Vikings, Commanders, all these teams really seem like ones that Panthers. If they identify a singular quarterback, excuse me, which one?
Panthers.
Oh yeah, I was talking about trading up, but yeah, definitely the Panthers at 6. We'll see what happens in that regard. But it'll be fun. And Antonio Jones coming in. Wanted to say Antonio Jones. Good point here. Draft is loaded with offensive linemen on both sides. It's also really, really good in the off-ball linebacker position in the day 2 region this draft. I mean, that's a common theme here for me with linebackers. But if you can't get Nakobe Dean or Devin Lloyd, don't panic. There are ample bodies, talented players day 2 in the draft that you're going to get in this class.
Colin, if the draft is so bad, why would anybody want to trade up to get the 9th pick? Because they fall in love with Malik Willis and his 70-mile-an-hour heater and his ability to run like crazy. And they think, man, we got to have this guy. We're going to trade up to get him. I love him. It only takes one. It only takes one of those teams to love a guy. We love Kenny Pickett. We love what he brings to the table. We love his tiny little hands. And the fact that his moxie, we love him. Got to have him. Let's send them another first-round pick to move up to 9. And as Trevor says, listen for him. So, yeah, everything's on the table. We're definitely considering a quarterback at the number 9 spot. I expect to hear that. It doesn't matter. This is all. Do not, if you listen to anything I've said over the last hour and change, do not believe a single thing you hear about the draft coming out of the Denver Broncos for the next 2 months. Not a word. Don't believe a word of it.
Yep. Sorry, Scott. I keep saying off-ball linebacker. It's
I don't know what it is.
That
counts. An off-ball linebacker. You mean a linebacker? That's what it is. It's a linebacker.
What do you call the edge rushers then? There's too many. We need more specific terms, especially with how multiple these fronts are. They lump. I hate it at the combine too, right? They just laugh defensive line, linebacker. It's like, who's doing what drills, right? Like some of these guys, I don't understand their roles. I really appreciated Eric Galko at the Shrine Bowl, not only really delineating these guys, but separating the talent on each team, whether they be 3-4 or 4-3, and so they can best highlight what these players do in their skill set. I think it's so niche and specific that you really want to highlight these guys and what they do well. I think they should even expand the roster so you can have more niche players on the field to get better play. That's
let's see. I bet the players union would be interested in more jobs.
I really do think that's the way to go. But we got Colin Wood saying, is Judy an off-ball receiver? He's a Z in a slot. I will say we had all off season to get into it. But if one thing is true for this Broncos team, and you're talking about the wide zone, 11 personnel heavy, Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay-esque offense, Judy's going to have to put in some work as a blocker because it's really important to be able to run out of 11 personnel. And one of the most important players on the field running out of 11 personnel is that slot wide receiver because they are going to be taking on linebackers and safeties, cutting off backside, and really important. So Judy, I know that we're talking about route running and drops and whatever, but like that blocking is going to be very, very, very important. Zach coming in. It's Valentine's Day and the wife is off ball. All right.
Our friend Zach Lynn. Zach runs a great Clemson site. So Zach runs, he's a Clemson guy, a Clemson reporter, award-winning writer and reporter and journalist. So welcome, Zach. Appreciate you being in today.
And this is the type of award-winning comments that you get with Zach with the wife being off ball. Brought to you by Manscaped. Guys, no, I'm just kidding. They're not the free sponsorships. What are we doing around here, guys? We got to get on out of here. We appreciate the heck out of you.
One more.
Let's do it. Go ahead.
If he's not injured, can the Broncos rely on Chubb? Well, you just kind of answered your own question there. No, I'm just kidding, Pete. I don't think you can rely on Chubb. You pencil him in and hope what you got, but I think you're going to want to come out of this draft with two guys who can play edge. 2 outside linebackers, 2 edge guys.
Yep.
You want 2 in this draft. Whether you want to use your number 9 and maybe a third or maybe a second, but you want to come out of this draft with 2 edge guys. I firmly believe that.
And it's tough because the Broncos could certainly use an edge rusher that is a free agent. You know, you have some cap space. You could do that. But the issue is if you're paying a guy this cycle, then it puts you in a weird situation with Bradley Chubb if he does come together and you want to pay him and he plays like the top 5 pick.
So the other part of that, Nick, is the edge rushers in free agency this year are very underwhelming.
There's going to be a heap after cap cuts there because there's a bunch that are with the massive contracts that just aren't living up to it. I mean, both Packers guys are probably going to become available, and you have Dom Capers coming over now and Nathaniel Hackett.
Underachiever is pissed off that he has to take a pay cut, though. Man, give me the young guys in the draft this year.
I think you probably need to do one of each. The point I was going to make is the Broncos on paper look pretty good. As far as not good, but you're safe next year with Chubb, Reed, and Cooper. The issue is 2023. You need to draft a guy this year because you have to have whoever you draft this year at edge is going to be a starter in 2023 and beyond because you're probably going to lose one of Reed / Chubb, if not both. So doesn't have to be top 10. If it's top 10 and you love the guy, great, but doesn't have to be top 10. You need to at least take one day 2 that you really like. And guess what? There are edge rushers galore in this class day 2, especially with that Broncos their first second round pick. You're going to get, Kingsley Enagbare, who was incredible. Boye Mafe, incredible. Probably not Jermaine Johnson, but there's other. Yes, Nick. I don't like Nick Benito as much because I really like speed to power guys, and he's almost pure finesse. I need a little bit of pop in the hands, and I don't get that from Nick Benito. But we'll
see what Sam Williams is. A kid from Western Michigan, I think, is Malone. I think his name is. Pop for me a little bit. There's a lot of guys in here that can help you. Anyway, we got to go, gentlemen. Nick, get us out of here.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much, everybody who supported us today. Ladies and gentlemen, happy Valentine's Day. You guys can follow Scott and I on Twitter. Scott is at Scout Kennedy, and I am at Nick Kendell, MHH. Also follow us at Huddle Up Pod and at Mile High Huddle. If you guys are on Facebook, make sure you're joining our communities there at facebook.com/Mile High Huddle and facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod. Really have appreciated the support. We've had like 3 or 4 new reviews come in the last couple of weeks since I've started pushing this. If you haven't done so yet, please help us. Go to iTunes, leave us a 5-star rating and a review. If you have a comment on there, a question for us, leave it in the chat. Leave us the review and then leave us a question, and I will treat that personally like a super chat on here. Don't even have to donate any stars or points or whatever. Just leave a comment on there, a question on there. We'll get to it, and we'll, like I said, treat it like a super chat. Also, guys, make sure you're liking, subscribing, and sharing on YouTube to our channel. Probably the number one thing you can do for us. That helps us a heck of a lot. And if you like what Scott and I are doing here, Scott has his own channel over at youtube.com/C/Scott Kennedy. Dropped a bunch of Senior Bowl tape that he likes to reference and pull up when we're talking about the guys, because why not? I mean, he was there. He saw these dudes in the flesh talking about the edge rushers and the trench play down there in Mobile, Alabama. Scott was there. Check out the tape there. Check out the clips that he so tediously went through and cut up for you guys to break down. That's a lot of work. So I appreciate it a heck of a lot. And we're going to get on out of here. Scott, what's the rest of your day look like? Valentine's Day. You got any big plans?
I'm going to go to lunch with the wife because dinner is probably softball practice and baseball practice, and then I'll be spending the night with y'all. Mile High Huddle, the Huddle Up Pod tonight at 6:00 Central.
Yep.
Comes right into my dinner time at 8:00. So I'll be spending Valentine's night with y'all. So I'm going to go to lunch with the wife.
Yep. And Todd asking about George Karlaftis. He's another name to keep up. Watch for that arm length. There's a lot of talk that he could have sub 30-inch arms, which is a horrifying number for an edge rusher. So we'll see about that one. And we go on Scott's channel on Wednesdays. Last Wednesday we didn't because Scott was dealing with some stuff, but that's okay. Yep, you're looking better, Scott. Happy Valentine's Day.
It looks better.
Yeah,
it looks better. This was this eye infection started Friday of last week. Yeah. So last Wednesday, I was like, not going on.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. We appreciate all of you. You are awesome. You guys have a great rest of your Valentine's Day. And I know that it's the end of the season, but this is our favorite time. It's the team building season.
It's the first day of the season.
Yeah, exactly. The second season, if you are the third season, I would say, because you have the postseason. So we're in the third season now. A lot of fun, draft content, free agent content. A lot of turnover is going to happen. Make sure you guys are hanging out with us to dissect it all, to digest it all, and have some fun. Choose kindness, choose compassion. Go Broncos.